Are you a mouse and keyboard player? Well, congratulations, you my friend are in the minority. 25%, if not less percent of people playing Call of Duty today plays a mouse and keyboard. But even though that's a very small percentage of players, there is still some people playing a mouse and keyboard and enjoying doing so, like I am, So I decided to make this video to help people out that struggled as much as me, if not people that still struggle with mouse and keyboard. But if that sounds interesting to you, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and hit the notification bell because I will be uploading informative videos like this for zombies, multiplayer, campaign, you name it. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure to do so. But today's video is mostly going to be focused around settings because believe it or not, these can actually make or break your game, and I'm not even kidding. This can win or lose you fights if you have some of these on or off. Mouse sensitivity, in my opinion, will always depend on the person. So I feel like you should use what feels comfortable to you because using a mouse and keyboard, there is many different techniques that you can use to play with mouse and keyboard. But in my personal opinion, I play palm grip, so these are what I use. I use a 3 cents with an 1800 DPI. Also, I don't use any multipliers that include my custom zoom sense. On my ADS timing, I use gradual simply because, I don't know, instant just feels a little strange to me. I don't know how to explain it, but I do prefer using gradual. So, but try it out, see what works best for you. And if instant works better for you, obviously use it. But for me personally, I use gradual. And for my ADS sensitivity type, I simply use legacy. Then for my keybinds, these might look a little strange to the average person because I needed to adapt. I never played on, mouse and keyboard. I always was a controller player, so learning the keyboard was actually the hardest part. So in my opinion, these are what I would recommend for a newer player to use. But obviously, if you've been playing with a keyboard for a while now, I wouldn't recommend changing anything. But to those who might be new to mouse and keyboard, I feel like these binds might help you because these, to me, was easier to learn. So when it comes to sprint assist, there are 3 options: off, on, or tactical sprints. And I've seen most people recommend tactical sprint assist, but I would not agree with this whatsoever. So when you normally sprint without actually, tactical sprinting, you'll notice that your aim down sight speed is much faster than when you try to aim down sight immediately after tac sprinting, you know what I'm saying? And you might think, oh, that's not a big deal. No, it is. Because if you've played Black Ops 6 or, even Call of Duty as a whole, you know what little time it takes to make a mistake. So if you hesitate even a split second longer than the other person, you will die first. That's how it works. Things I was guilty of this. I used tactical sprint for the longest time and I could never understand why I couldn't win my gunfights when it's a reaction battle, you know what I'm saying? So I highly recommend keeping sprint assist on, but not on tactical sprint assist. On to mantle assist, obviously you want this off because you do not want to accidentally hit your W key and just mantle some stuff and fall off a map or something. Don't ask me how I know, but trust me, you want this off because you will also just cancel your reload most of the time. As well as crouch assist, you want this off, and as well as corner slide because these are both involuntary movements. So you want as much control when you play And if you have these two on, you will make movements that you didn't necessarily mean to make, and that will cost you some fights as well. And then it's time to speed run through the other settings of movement real quick. So movement behaviors, these you can change up as much as you want. If it helps you, it's gonna help you. But in my personal opinion, I use crouch behavior on toggle, prone behavior, go to, sprint behavior, toggle, automatic airborne mantle on, parachute automatic behavior off, sprint restore on, slide maintain sprints on, and mantle cancels reload off. Then moving on to movement advanced settings. So the only one that I feel is important and worth mentioning is the tactical sprints activation. So I use single tap run. So when I do run, I just need to tap my sprint button once and I will automatically just start sprinting. So it's mostly a, choose when to do something type setting, but this is also very important if you are going to be using a separate button for sprinting. And then moving on to the combat section. So aim down sights behavior, obviously I have this on hold. Interact behavior on press. Dedicated melee weapon activation I have on hold melee. But I do have a specific button that I do press for my melee weapons. So this only makes so that I can, swap back to my weapon by only pressing, next weapon button. And I will automatically go back to my weapon. Because if you have this on, weapon cycle or dedicated keybind, sometimes it will legitimately just not pull out your gun and you will be stuck with your melee weapon until you die. On to body shield and finishing move behavior. So I use prioritized body shield only because I mostly play Black Ops 6. So when you use this on like Warzone or something, I guess a finishing move could be better. But when you play Black Ops 6, prioritizing a body shield over a finishing move is probably going to be the play. So, I would recommend using prioritized body shield. Then equipment behavior I have on hold, weapon mount activation off, and then these are the combat advanced settings that I use. These you can change to your preference, but in my opinion, these to me work best. These other settings below, you can just keep at default because these won't really make any real impact in gameplay itself. Then moving on to other settings like graphics and audio settings. So I play on PS4, so these are definitely gonna look different to you if you're on PC or PlayStation 5, but I will have some images up here somewhere so you can actually see the difference and what you should be using if you do use a newer gen console or you do use a PC. For display, I use my gamma brightness on 55 and my eco mode off. In the quality section, world motion blur off, obviously, weapon motion blur off, depth of field you want this off, and then cast strength you want on and on at least 90. If your console can handle more, maybe you can up it, but in my opinion, keeping it at 90, my game still runs fine and it doesn't really, impact my frames or my gameplay that much. Moving on to on-demand texture streaming, I have on optimized and the cache size that I use is small. This could be only worth using on a PS4, but I do think the less background data being downloaded, the smoother your game will run, in my opinion. Then we have view. You can copy all of these if you want, but the most important I would say is ADS field of view affected and weapon field of view wide. But also the first person camera movement you want at least, as well as the third person and the third person ADS transition. In simple terms, this will legitimately just make it look like you have less recoil, and it'll just make your game feel smoother as a whole as well. Then moving on to my audio. So you can copy this as is. Obviously you want your sound effects volume to be as high as possible so you can hear as much as you possibly can. And the rest you can simply copy. But the thing that I wanted to show you is, footsteps can be very, very, very subtle in Black Ops 6. So if you want to use a type of frequency that could maybe help you hear a little bit better, I would recommend using the left frequency channel and the right frequency channel just to improve the loudness of footsteps. Anyway, that's basically all for my settings and what I found to be best on mouse and keyboard. Most of these can also go for controller players, but if you guys want a dedicated video for controller settings, I use linear in my opinion, because I just feel more comfortable and it just feels better for me. So if you guys would like to see a video like that in the future, let me know down in the comments. And also if I missed something that might have been important, or I was maybe wrong about something, feel free to let me know down in the comments below, and I will correct anything or everything that I was wrong about. Anyway, if you enjoyed, remember to like, subscribe, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one.
My English was not English in there. I got blown up.